pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms. Bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Ah, yes, there's that man with the flat cap. I had to bring it on my trick up north to the last great frontier in America, Alaska. And that photo right there, maybe just bypassing you on the screen, was the entrance to this place, otherwise known as Whittier, Alaska. There's only one lane both to get into and out of Whittier, Alaska. I had the best halibut fish sandwich there, along with possibly my new favorite beer as well there in Whittier, Alaska. So that is where I have been the last week and a half or so. That's where I've been, your host of the program, otherwise known as NETMA, Tyler Falk. It is good to be back. We've missed a lot. I've missed you guys. Maybe you've missed me. Maybe you've missed the 2-10 predictions. Let me know what you missed more. But that is how we find ourselves here in the third week of the off-season for the Simulation Football League. The off-season calendar has been released, and with that, free agency is right around the corner officially. Re-signing period started Monday morning, and we already have a lot of signings, including a couple signings that we'll talk about here in a little bit that have really caught my eye. It's been a really good, it was a really good week to just relax. A week up in Alaska, just to unwind, not have to worry about game planning or taking care of, game planning for Lincoln, which has now gone on a 3-game winning streak. So congrats to the Lincoln Rattlers. I do the offensive coordinating over there. Defense has really stepped up in some way. Offense put on a really good show in a shootout last week. Logan Lee with over 200 yards. A couple of other teams, having a really solid running game. I really like. Oh man, wow, a couple of good. I mean, Squarebush has done okay. Not really the characteristic last couple of weeks, but we'll have to see. Who else have I seen? I want to see like Madison and Lexington both have had some pretty solid runners as well. I'm trying to think of the names of the running backs. I just can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. Can't figure it out. Let me know in the comments. It's good to see a few people already in chat. I believe that's Chad Rowland, otherwise the new Indianapolis Ramblers handle here on YouTube. A few other people also jumping in saying hey as well. Good to see everybody. As we start to talk about the offseason and what was announced prior to the offseason schedule, what all is going on, was the All-Star game and the All-Star cast. Who's all going to be in that All-Star game? And so if you haven't seen it already, this is the full lineup, including punters that have just recently been announced as well. For the East, no surprise, Jack Wigmore is going to be the starting quarterback with Johnny Pickler, his understudy. Not really an understudy. Again, in the SFL uh, All-Star game, we get to see pretty much everybody will have about an equal opportunity uh, to throw the ball, to catch the ball, to run the ball. So expect Boletsky Say to get some touches. Cameron Collier gets the nod at fullback. Couple of good wide receivers. In fact, all good wide receivers. In fact, everyone on this list is good because they're all stars, right? How can they not be good? Irvin Calia, Robo, Chima, and Ellington make up the wide receivers for the East. Jack Wall, Tiberius Bovine at tight end. We'll talk more about where Tiberius Bovine is going to be playing, or I should say what position he's going to be playing here in just a second. He just signed a new contract, which looks pretty tasty. Linemen feature Olivia Bleeker, Butch Menor, Brian French, Alden Bleeker, Greg McDonaldson are the offensive line. Taquan Hale, Chris Andrews, Tom Tanner, Jaden Swift, David Tilley, Luther Gahn are the defensive linemen. We've also got Clint Hendershot, Jack Brown, Aquana Shine at the inside linebacker spots. Outside is Siobhan Prasad, Cree Higgins, Eric Hammer. And then the corners, Connor Darian, Emmanuel Blackman, King Rashid. It's all four of them, or Ben Stacking Paper. There we go. Maybe there's maybe four. Daniel Wright along with Mike Ryan at free safety. John Stamago, Jack Russell are the strong safeties. Otis Boudreau is the kicker from Louisiana. He'll do the kicking, along with Marcus Agrippa doing the punting for the East. As far as the entire layout goes, there it is. Jacksonville get the lion's share of the All-Stars with 6 for the East. They are tied with a team from the West who we'll talk about in just a second. St. Louis and DC both have 1 member apiece at the bottom end. For the West, Scar Patterson beats out Tom Pepper for the number 1 QB spot. Ezekiel Love, G.P. Wells, the running backs, Ray Bentley, the fullback, Liam Hammer, and Gunnar Lewis will line up side by side as wide receivers, along with D.R. Sim, Kendra Hall, and Logan Keel. Tight ends, Adam Williams and Robert Garrett Jr. Offensive linemen, E.J. DeQ, Ethan Kai, Jaden Taylor, Michael Percoco, Sean Crooked are the offensive linemen. Defensive linemen, Alex Perez, Jeff Duffy, Achilles Papatonis, Hunter Norwood, Dan Tritz, Alex Constantine, along with linebackers Josh Farnsey, KT Horrell, Joey Tropicana, David Harrell, Dave Drury, Pete Mitchell, and Adam Leach start off the cornerback spots. Merrick Itera, John Barnhart, Leo Morris are the corners. Jay Ringgold and Rochelle Colston are the 2 free safeties. Josh Rowe and Max Jackson are the strong safeties. Zashtel Black from Sioux Falls gets the nod at kicker, with L.A. Seitz from Lone Star doing the punting. I thought they would be tied Jacksonville, but they get the lion's share. They have the most All-Stars in the All-Star game. Houston, Arizona, and Vancouver all make up 5 All-Stars for the West. They lead the top. LA and Denver both have a single member of their franchise from season 18 on the All-Star roster. So what's good about this All-Star roster crew is that every single team is represented. Not a single team got left out. Every team can hold their head high. They have someone representing them in the All-Star game. I think that's the most important part. If you can have all 24 teams, and for next season, it'll be very interesting to see how do they do that with a 7th division. Do they split that division down the middle, or does one side or the other get a say in where they go? Do they split that Central Division maybe and just say, well, Minnesota and Sioux Falls, you get the West, and everybody else, you get the East? Well, only time will tell, and more will be discussed, I'm sure, as we get closer to season 19's All-Star game. So that is how everything breaks down on the website, SFL's official website. In the news portion, you can go check out that exact page I was just talking about. It also has a breakdown of how the league scored each position as far as who got the nod, as far as that goes. And then it goes into a lot more detail than what I'll discuss, because it also goes into showing what kind of, well, if you go click on the player section, you get to see what kind of signings were made over the course of the last couple of days. And I mentioned Tiberius Bovine and what he's going to do. If you are wondering what this sheet is, well, I've created an off-season hub for the season 18-19 off-season. Link to that is in the NETMA server. Link to that is down below in the description. And if you go pop into the season 18-19 off-season channel in the NETMA server. There'll be the link pinned in that server to go ahead and jump in and see what everybody's talking about. And this has an aggregate, of course, of everything, all the signings, the draft, everything is going to be compiled into this one spreadsheet. But let's take a look at some of these signings. And I want to take a look at London. Tiberius Bovine is moving from tight end to fullback. That can only mean that either London's trying to go with a two-back backfield to help out with the passing attack, or they're trying to help out their running game and get their running game going and have maybe more balanced attack next season. That'll be something for, well, them to probably figure out and test. But as you take a look, Robert Merrill, going into his 12th season, has yet to sign a contract along with a number of other folks. But is that the plan for London? Are they trying to cut back on Bovine as a tight end and maybe save some cap room and maybe open up a few other things in the passing attack and help Robert Merrill collect a couple of things? Maybe that's the plan. That's yet to be seen as London goes into a new era with their GM Chad Rowland going to Indianapolis, of course, as the owner over there, one of the two owners of Indianapolis. A couple other big signings. The team that has done the most work over the offseason in retaining pretty much everybody, and by no surprise, is Baltimore. They have retained so far 18 players so far this season, and it's, again, a testament to how well that organization's run, how well the players on that organization trust the staff, and how much of a very tightly knit group they are. So, of course, no surprise to see Jack Wigmore on there. Warren Murray, after signing midway through the season, will return for a second stint with the Vultures. A couple other names to see: Ben Stackenpaper, Giovanni Bolt sticking around, Ivory Irvin, Mac Chima, Daley Holder, all familiar names there. So the wide receiving core will stay pat. Defensive line looks to be about the same. Not a whole lot of work to do and plenty of cap to work around. Still got about 5 players yet to sign, and we'll talk about all of this as we go on. A few teams to have yet to do official business as of 7 o'clock Eastern time. No signings yet for Arizona, Florida, Jacksonville, Motor City, otherwise known as the relocated St. Louis franchise, and San Diego. All 5 of those clubs have yet to re-sign a player, I should say. And the re-signing period is well over a month, or just under a month, I should say, including free agency as well, which will start up next week, I believe. If I just want to double check my off-season calendar, there's a new tab in the off-season hub, and yep, free agency starts a week from yesterday on the 6th, so expect to see all of the confirmed free agents and maybe even some names we didn't expect to see test free agency that haven't been officially announced. A couple of things I wanted to mention about the teams. I've only heard of one team, that being Denver, who has been hit with a 30-point cap penalty because they failed to comply with the allotted games you are required to provide scouts. And what that means is during games during the week, the stats team has required, as part of the I want to call it the collective bargaining agreement, but the ownership agreement over the last season states that each team must provide coverage for their 6 home games in some way, shape, or form. It was confirmed earlier a few weeks ago that Denver would be hit with a 30-point cap penalty, so their cap is now at 1770, which makes things even more tighter, especially as the cap sticks at, for every team that complied, 1,800. So Denver hit with a little bit of a pinch. I have yet to confirm with the league commissioner or anyone else. Thank you, Chad, the league affiliate agreement. That about any other team. I've heard rumors that other teams also did not meet the quota. I just have yet to hear officially who, and maybe I can get some help from the community, help from Cam. I'll reach out to Cam after this show to reach out officially. to figure out which and every team got hit with the cap penalty, and maybe something else as well. But if you want to check out who all is signed so far officially, you can also check out the official SFL webpage in the Players tab right here at the top of the screen. That'll take you to this little fancy Nancy website. If you're a player, it'll show all your contracts you have signed. Mike Ryan, of course, signed for Louisiana day one of the re-signing period. But if you want to check and see maybe some up-to-date contracts, well, there's a couple right there. Adam Banks is re-signed with, that's season 18. So you will have to change to season 19. No changes so far in the last hour. Cameron Collier, the most recent signing, fullback for Louisiana. But all of those will also be correlated on the season 18-19 off-season hub. So as well. So that is the SFL in a nutshell. All the different signings so far, more of which to come as the days and weeks go on until the end of re-signing, both for, well, I should say for all veterans. So if a veteran does not sign on or by the 23rd of June, they are ineligible for season 19. Now that's a key phrase that was released by the league. So might that mean that if you played in season 18, you are no longer allowed to play at least this upcoming season and until season 20. So someone who announced their retirement, aka someone like Warren Murray, wouldn't be able to re-sign until season 20 if he were to, say, this past season retire again and then re-sign. So that is something that will be needed to be discussed, as I think that's a clear cut and dry. But maybe I've got something wrong. We'll have to figure out that. As far as the minor league goes, only 3 weeks left in the regular season for all those minor leaguers. As far as where everything stands, again, San Jose for the last couple seasons has played pretty well. After their first 2 or 3 seasons could only maybe get 2 or 3 wins, they are unbeaten going into week 6. And from what we know of the minor league, if you stand above 500, you're more than likely in the playoffs. So I think all that San Jose needs to do is win their next game in week 6, this coming Friday, which will be at home versus Lincoln. So, oh boy. So a 3-game win streak versus unbeaten San Jose, I think, is going to be a fun game. Lincoln, I don't mean to sound like a homer or anything, but Lincoln's last 3 wins have all been, as the League Socialist put it, the game of the week for the last 3 weeks. And I don't blame them. Last couple of weeks, especially last week versus Tacoma and that crazy shootout where Lee goes for 200 yards. Ty Pack throws a record passing yardage in a loss, over 500 yards passing for the rookie QB in a loss, which stands just to show you what kind of game it was. Lee had a good game. Lincoln had a good game. Tacoma had a good game. Only one team could have won that game, and, well, fortunately for Lincoln, Lincoln won the game. Nothing but respect for Tacoma as well. Lexington falls short. They fall to 3-2 as Albuquerque climbs back up to 2-3. Or excuse me, both teams now at 2-3. My apologies. The only team maybe on the outside looking in and maybe a little bit unhappy with some of the players just voicing their displeasure, or one player in particular voicing their displeasure. The Madison Lynx sit at 0-5, a polar opposite to San Jose. They not a whole lot to say for or against Madison. They do have the least points for, and they are giving up looks like the 3rd most points against for Madison. And they've hit a couple of bad breaks, but I think it's only a matter of time before we see Madison win a game. I don't think they will go 0-8. Can't necessarily say they're not going to go 2-6. The minor league version of 2-10. But that's a lot more common, especially last few seasons, for a team to go below 500, maybe around 3 or 2 wins, just because there aren't as many games. But as we talk about the playoff picture, 4 teams stand above 500 at the moment: San Jose, Lincoln, Annapolis, Tacoma. I think Lexington's probably an outside chance to make a barnstorming and maybe knock a team on the inside out of the playoffs. I would probably say the best team to probably knock out of the playoffs at this point would either be Lincoln or Annapolis. I think Tacoma is again, high flying football team. If you don't know how to stop them, you're more than likely in trouble unless you have a really potent offensive attack. San Jose, I think, is for sure in. Albuquerque and Ottawa, I think, are the dark horses to make the playoffs. But again, very short season. A lot of things happen. One game can change the direction of your entire season. So best for all the coaching staffs and players to not overreact with where they stand. It's good. It's a good feeling, let me tell you, for the Lincoln coaching staff to be 3-2 after starting 0-2. But we know the job is not done, especially as we go up against number 1 seeded San Jose. A loss by all 3 clubs that stand at 3-2 means that San Jose clinches a playoff spot, which I think is possible. I don't think Annapolis and Tacoma. No, they do not play each other. Annapolis plays Lexington and Tacoma plays Ottawa this week. So if all 3 teams that stand at 3-2 lose, San Jose has officially clinched a playoff spot. And it makes the entirety of that 2 and 3 seed mess very, very interesting. So that is a brief look at what I missed over the last week. And we'll catch up more on that this week. Thursday, there will be a special episode of NETMA featuring a member or both owners of the 4 new expansion franchises. So look forward to that on Thursday. And tomorrow we'll talk more. We'll probably talk a lot more minor league tomorrow, and as well touch on a lot more of the off-season and all the new signings. So until then, everybody, it's good to be back. We'll see you tomorrow on another edition of the program. Until then, good morning, good afternoon,